Welcome to the BriteVibe podcast. At BriteVibe, we believe everyone deserves to be happy. But in today's world, everywhere you turn, there is division and negativity. At BriteVibe, we have created a global movement to bring 8 million people together who are inspired to live bright, live bold, and share bright vibes. Alone, it can be hard to change, but together we can change the world. Welcome to the BriteVibe podcast. So today on the show, we have Kim Moriyama. She is an experienced coach, and she really specializes in something called the Sedona Method of letting go. And actually, as you listen or watch the show today, she actually put me through that. So I was super excited to have her on the show. Very impactful today, and it just took me in a completely different space. So I highly encourage you to watch or listen all the way through, because she just literally picks up steam and it just comes more and more alive as we're in that space. So great show today. Happy to have you listen or watch that. And let's get on with the show. So Kim Moriyama, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Matt. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Yes. And so very interesting. You're a very interesting person. I was super excited to do our conversation today. And as I said in pre-show, there's anything and everything that you want to talk about, I'm happy to go, because you've led it seems like a very colorful life, adventurous, I would say, in that way. And so, I'd like to get into that as well. But tell us a little bit about kind of what you do, let's say professionally. I know you coach and primarily help women and girls. Is that accurate?
Yes, my passion in my work right now is actually not just women these days, but really all people who are struggling with any inner feelings of self-limitation. My work is to help people let go of the limiting thoughts and feelings that are preventing them from living their best life. And in positions of leadership, leaders have such impact on so many people around them that my work is to really support leaders to let go, so that that what is revealed, their own clear reason and intuitive knowingness, that they can lead and live authentically without overwhelm or self-doubt in a way that actually truly honors their own soul.
Okay. And when you say let go, I guess, what exactly are they letting go of? I mean, because you said so they tap, but what are they actually? I mean, as a tactical thing, what are they? How are you guiding them, and what are they letting go of?
So what they're letting go of is being entangled in limiting thoughts and feelings. So, for example, somebody might be having a hard time with something, but the underlying limiting belief is, I'm not good enough. I don't know how, right? And then they get entangled in those thoughts and feelings. And so what I do is I use a process of inquiry, as well as having compassion for our own humanity, to help them disentangle themselves so that they can recognize that they aren't their thoughts and feelings. So there's a methodology that changed my life called the Sedona Method of letting go. And the founder, Lester Levinson, said, "You are an unlimited being in that you have no choice. Your only choice is to identify with your thoughts of limitation." And so many of us do that unconsciously. We identify with thoughts and feelings that aren't who we really are. And so my work is by helping people, ask them questions, through the coaching process, is to help them recognize that they aren't those thoughts and feelings. What they are is the totality of who they are is so much more than that, so that they can draw upon that part of themselves that is whole, complete, enough, is caring, passionate about things in the world, and then get into action from a peaceful and harmonious place that's authentic and lines up with who they really are.
Okay. And can you, for me, it always helps, whether I'm reading a book or listening or talking to somebody, can you give us some actual real world example or one or a couple of people that you've worked with, kind of what they were stumbling on and then what that looked like after they went through that process with you, so that people can kind of understand what is it, what does it look like, I guess?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to guess maybe there's listeners that they could relate to this story.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working with a business executive who was new in her position,
Mm-hmm.
and she really wanted to get things right. And she was really seeking approval. And she was noticing that she was making decisions based on whether or not she thought other people would approve of her. Right? And so this was causing her incredible anxiety at work. People would, she would say something, like, for example, in a meeting, and she was interpreting how people were responding to her through the lens of, I'm not good enough. I need other people's approval to know that I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And so that what I found can happen at all levels of leadership when we step into when we evolve to the next level of our growth, wherever that is, feelings of self-doubt can come in. I mean, all the way up into the C-suite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is that, first, we created that safe space to actually just allow those thoughts and feelings to be present. And then the process of recognizing that you aren't those thoughts and feelings, like going through a series of the coaching process or the questions to help them let go, to help this person let go of being entangled in them. And then what's revealed, right? And this is, I know I'm explaining it, but it's best done experientially. But what was revealed from that process was actually in some ways an undescribable sense of well-being, of peace, of knowing oneself, not by thinking, but it's truly a felt sense that my experience of it is it comes through the heart. And then from that place, she allowed her own clear reason and intuitive knowingness to begin guiding her. And so she had impact for what she knew was best for the organization, herself. All the relationships started to change because she was relating to herself differently, and other people began relating to her differently.
I was actually just at lunch earlier today, and a good friend of mine and I were having some discussion around this relationships and what that looks like, and kind of being more guided, by our hearts or by intuition or by God, or however you want to frame that. But for us, we were talking about God. It was like, how do we become more in line with God so that we can be more just in alignment, because ultimately that affects my relationships, that affects my marriage, that affects my kids, and it's always easier to point out the things that other people are doing and think if they would only change, right? But it doesn't really, right? It doesn't really work that way. I mean, it would be so much easier, right? If you and I could just sit down and tell everybody what's wrong with them, and they would just fix it, right? But ultimately, that it was really, it's an inside job, and as we shift, then our environment, it has to shift, right? It coexists. It's like the only way to change my external environment is to change my internal way of being. At least that's the way I see it.
Yes, and I want to say that the thing for me personally that was the biggest thing that I did to change my own experience of life was to let go of self-judgment. Mm-hmm. And what I found is a lot of people who are extremely high achievers, right? We are so driven, and we have strived so hard, that getting more information, more tools. And part of what led to the success was that feeling of I need more. I'm not okay just the way I am. If
Right.
once I get this training, once I get this
Right.
information, and it helped us and supported us to a point.
Right.
But I reached that point, I guess it was maybe 11 years ago, when it wasn't working anymore. My life was very stressful, and no amount of information was actually helping me solve the problems. And I was so hard on myself. And so one of the things that I found to be key in people's transformation is to have freedom from self-judgment, to disentangle from all the self-flagellation, right? And
Right.
to create space. I can't state enough how much I've seen that creating space, even for the judgment, and recognizing that what we are isn't any of those thoughts and feelings, but we are actually that which is aware of thoughts and feelings. We are that which is aware of the different experiences that happen. And when we bring compassion, and softening, space gets created. So then we can sense what you were talking about. Where is that flow of life, whether you want to call it God, spirit, the power that is the way? And then we can align, right? There's a Eastern teacher sage named Nisargadatta Maharaj. And he said that there needs to be cooperation from the body-mind mechanism with that higher power, with that flow. And I certainly have had my own direct experience of when I was so sure I knew how it needed to go, and I was working really hard to make things go the way that I knew was best for everybody. Well,
Right. Right.
yeah, I mean, I don't probably need to tell you how that turned out, right?
Right.
But
Yes. Yes. And again, at lunch, we were kind of talking about the same thing. It's always serendipitous, when I do shows that something will happen before or after the show. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's how it connected all together. But it was, for me, it's like, the more I'm in my head, the more I'm restricting the flow of grace. I'm restricting the flow of the what is, or I'm restricting the flow of life to try to pigeonhole it down into something smaller than it actually is, because I'm trying to narrow it down versus just allowing it to be, which usually is the better result. It's almost like, because I've been, like you, driven my whole life, and it just got to the point of diminishing returns, right? And I'm still struggling through it. It's not like I'm on the other side of this and life is all roses and sunshine and rainbows. I'm still struggling with how much effort do I feel like I'm putting in versus how much do I allow to flow, and balancing that tightrope for me, or that space of, I still believe that I have to do something in life, but am I, how much am I restricting what's already happening, if that makes sense? I don't know that I'm enjoying the ride that I'm meant to be on, if that makes sense.
yeah, right. Have you ever had times, Matt, where you've been trying to do something, and it's just not happening? You set it down, you come back to it in a bit,
Right.
and then somehow it just effortlessly happens, and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to be that easy. What's going on here? And it's almost a disbelief.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Have you had that experience?
Of course. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody can relate to that too. Yes. And so that piece of, who's coming to mind right now is that great teacher who recently passed, Thich Nhat Hanh.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he said was, our work is to not suffer that we suffer.
Right.
Because then there's two sufferings.
Right.
So in those moments when there's struggle and we pause and just have compassion for the struggle and give some space, actually give space for the unfolding to happen, right? Then the way forward is revealed.
Right.
I think that this was a huge shift for me of thinking that I needed to figure out with my mind and get what I needed to do next.
Right.
And what I'm really discovering and feel really passionate about supporting leaders with is to create the space for the solution and the way forward to be revealed.
Mm-hmm. It sounds much more fun, right?
That
sounds better.
It's
Just
so much.
let it be revealed, right? I mean, it's like,
Yes.
wow, it's a surprise for everyone, right? It's like, okay, I chose curtain 3. I should know what's behind curtain 3, but I don't. So let's reveal it, right? Yeah. Thank you for listening to the BriteVibe podcast today. We've got a special event coming up here shortly, July 12th through the 16th, called the Global Happiness Summit. And we're bringing resources from around the country together to talk about happiness and what that means and how to have more of that in our lives. Go to BriteVibe.com, B-R-I-T-E, Vibe, V-I-B-E.com for more information about the Global Happiness Summit. And we look forward to seeing you July 12th through the 16th. Like letting things, it was almost a meditative state. I was like, oh, okay. When I'm letting things go, it kind of feels a certain way physically. It actually felt kind of like a circular motion, was kind of like almost like I was, spitting things out of my mouth or letting things go, just out into the space. So it was kind of interesting, and still is. Sometimes I just call on that to kind of let things go.
Absolutely, because if you're open to the possibility that life and what we experience is more than just a physical, tangible, that there is an energetic, right? That
What's the actual title? Sedona Method of letting go. So what exactly is that?
it's a methodology that includes several techniques in which a person can let go, literally release limiting thoughts and feelings that are getting in the way from them being their best selves and that are blocking their sense of the happiness and joy that is at their core, truly. So why don't I start by just sharing one of the first basic techniques called deciding to drop it. So you can experience it directly, because the beauty of this work, and I love that my mentor always said, please do not believe a word I say. Let's do it. Take it for checking, and then you find out what's true for yourself.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So I see you have a pen in front of you. Yep. So let's take the pen and we'll use your hand as a representation of that which you truly are: unlimited, expansive, able to do many things. The pen is going to represent a limiting thought or feeling that you don't like. And is there something in your life right now, Matt, that you'd like to feel lighter and freer about, that we could actually make this relevant and meaningful?
Lighter and freer about, well, probably everything I'd like to let. So a limiting thought is probably that I have to do something to make things happen, right?
Okay.
Is that a
it can be. It certainly can be, because what's the underlying feeling that comes up when you think that I have to make this happen? What's the feeling?
What's the feeling? That's interesting. Okay, so what's the underlying feeling of I have to? Well, it's usually stress, because if I don't do it, it doesn't, I'm afraid it won't get done, and then I'll let people down, or I'll be considered a failure, or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's go with that. I'm a failure. What's the feeling that brings up?
That I'm a failure? Oh my goodness. Now what happened to Zoom? Yeah. Well, oh, you're still there. Hang on. You're still there?
I'm still here. Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I can see you. I can totally see you fine.
No, I wouldn't launch the meeting. I think what happened was, I think something came onto your computer. And so we're still logged in. So I think it came through I've seen this happen before, where you have to find there we go. Perfect. It's not one thing, it's another. You're going to earn this one, Troy. So the feeling of failure. What does that feel like, or what is it? It doesn't feel good. The feeling of failure.
Oh, okay.
I
But let's make
okay,
it really relevant, because I
okay,
would love this to be useful for you now. So is
okay.
there something in your life that that you would like to feel better about, something that's causing you some stress or some anxiety?
Hmm.
And you don't have to say what it is. That's
Hmm.
another beauty about this
Okay.
work. You don't have to go into the details.
Hmm.
Share as much as you want, but know that it's not required.
Right.
And this brings me to another point, that one of the reasons this work is so powerful is because it taps into something that all human beings experience, which is feelings,
Hmm.
right? Doesn't matter where we are in the world or necessarily a position we're in. Feelings are feelings, and they're universal to
Hmm.
humans. So,
So, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to feel into that a little bit, the failure piece. But I think it's more of, I think lately, because I did have the COVID thing finally about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago now, and since then I think it's more of a feeling of I mean, I think that, I don't know if it's a limiting belief. It's just what I'm experiencing, but it's kind of like, does what I do matter, right? It, you know, does it matter that I go to work and do this? Does it matter that I uh, like put effort in, or does it not matter? I mean, it's almost like this existential question of, does any of it matter to some degree? But my part in it, does it really matter if I'm, here or not here, or, you know,
so
and I,
does the feeling, is there a feeling of doubt
yeah,
that's
yeah,
arising?
definitely. Definitely doubt, and
Okay.
doubt and more questioning. It's not like I'm not wrestling or struggling with it. It's more of just like, does it matter? I mean, more of a kind of it's not causing me like angst necessarily, but it's more of just this true questioning of, what is this, is what am I supposed to be doing? And in that, does it actually matter what I'm doing?
Okay. So would it be fair to say that if you had more clarity,
Mm-hmm.
that would
Oh,
bring more
totally.
ease,
Oh, totally.
right?
Yeah. And that's what I struggle with, actually. I think the clarity is the bigger part of it. Is that I just, I wish, I said this to me and my friends. It was like, I wish God would just send me a text and say, Matt, today, here's the top 3 things I want you to do. I want you to kiss your kids, and tell them that you love them. I want you to go call this person. And then I want you to, send flowers to your mom or whatever. Right. But it's like, but yes, I struggle with that whole clarity of, does this matter? Is, what I'm doing mattering? Is this on, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the world to fulfill my purpose in the world, type thing? So yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So there is a feeling, that little bit of doubt.
yes,
There's some
totally.
doubt. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm so glad now that we've getting down to the heart of the matter, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's let this pen
Mm-hmm.
represent doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's put it in the other hand.
Okay.
Okay. And go ahead and squeeze that pen to the degree that you don't like doubt. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
and be really honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With yourself. Now, what happens when you hear thoughts like, well, is what I'm doing really mattering? Like, gosh, could somebody just tell me what to do? Could God just send me that memo? Like, things would be so much better. How long is this doubt going to be here? When is clarity going to come?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now what's happening to that grip on your pen?
Well, it brings up anger. I'm super pissed, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to break this pen.
Right.
Right.
So would it be
Right.
fair to say that your grip has gotten tighter
Well,
on the pen?
it stayed pretty tight the whole time. I was angry right off the bat. As soon as you said to grip it with how much it's, irritating me. I'm
Right.
like, I am literally trying to break this pen.
Okay. So now, is this grip helping you get the answer?
No,
Is it bringing you peace and
no,
well-being?
no.
No.
It's just
Okay.
continuing to make me angry.
Okay. Now, is this pen actually part of your hand?
No.
Okay, no, but it can feel that way, right? And when we get entangled with our thoughts, we begin to think we are the thought or the feeling. And we think that the answer is in the feeling. So we don't want to let go. I mean, how many times have you ever had that experience? I just need to think about this more
Right. Yep.
to get the answer, right? I
Yep.
think we all
A
do
lot.
that, right? But now, is your hand by chance getting tired?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exhausting. And I think one of the reasons we get so tired at the end of the day is because we're resisting, right? What's actually there. Okay, but now we already established the pen is not part of your hand, right? Could the hand put the pen down?
So yes, and it's also interesting that as you say that the pen's not part of my hand, it almost feels like that it is to some degree part of
Yes,
my hand. It's
that's
like,
right.
and there's actually just I mean, part of the pen is either broken or my ring's pinching or something. And I'm like, even though it's uncomfortable, I can tell that I have attachment to hanging onto the pen.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
It's like
That's right.
it's like because at least as when I'm hanging onto the pen, I'm in relationship to the pen.
Exactly. And
And
I'm
now,
going to
okay, and now there's the feeling of, well, what happens? I mean, yes, intellectually, I know if I set the pen down that my hand will stop feeling this way. But
right.
there's this certain feeling of, okay, well, if I set the doubt down, if I set the pen down, then what am I going to do?
Exactly. Now I'm going to quote Thich Nhat Hanh again because he just says this so beautifully. People have a hard time and they even fear letting go. We prefer the certainty of what's known instead of letting go the suffering. We prefer the suffering that's familiar. Okay. So just for now, could you give yourself permission to hang on for as long as as tightly as you are?
Now it's almost like a contest. It's like, oh, can I give myself permission to hang on?
Yeah. Could you give yourself permission to hang on?
Yeah.
And do you like hanging on?
No, not really. No.
So is there a part of you that has a desire to have the answer and to feel more relaxed inside?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And then could we welcome the part of you that wants to hang on? Just notice, be present, or allow that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then could you also welcome that part of you that sincerely would like to have the answer and feel freer?
So I'm inviting in the part of me that wants to know and feels frustrated by not having the answer.
No. It's just like, could you notice or just be present with the part of you that would like to feel freer, would like to feel some relief?
Yes.
So we're just welcoming that part.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so could you give yourself permission to hang on as tightly as you are? And then could you also be present with that part of you that would like some relief?
Yes.
Okay. And then just be present with the part of you that wants to hold on tightly. And then could you be present with the part of you that wants to feel some relief? Okay.
And now, even as you say that, because I want to make sure that I'm experiencing this for people, so it's not just an internal thing, but like when you say invite the part to hang on to the pen, I feel the pen. When you say invite the part that would like to feel some relief, I actually feel it in my shoulder. It switches back and forth. It's like like the shoulder's tired, but the hand's like, no, I got this. And then the relief part's like, no, but look at your shoulder. Your shoulder hurts now.
Yes, and that part, the other part, the part that's closer in towards the heart. I'm just going to go with that metaphor.
Yeah,
it's like saying, well, yeah, actually, I would. So, would you consider, Matt, the possibility of allowing there to be some relief?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And would you be open to allowing some relief?
Yes.
Okay. And when would you do that?
Right about now.
Okay, great. So then let's set the pen down.
Thank God. Okay.
Okay. Now just tell me, what are you experiencing in your hand?
More in my shoulder. I'm experiencing in my shoulder just it's like, okay, now we can relax. And the hand, probably a little tingling and just a general sense of being cramped. And now it kind of just wants to stretch.
Yeah, it wants to stretch.
Right.
And can
Yeah.
you feel that there's energy moving through your hand?
Yes. Yeah. I can
Okay.
feel that.
So that happens to us on other levels as well, right? So when we're holding the pen super tight, right, we're going through life like this, right? But we were designed to have be able to use all four fingers and the thumb. But when we're holding on, we've locked our capacity to access all of our resources. So when we let go, there's energy that's flowing, right? That we have access now to parts of ourselves that we couldn't have access to when we were holding on. When we hold on, it's as if we lock ourselves into a position, and it might be an internal mental position, and then our options are limited. Just like your hand has a very limited range of possibilities when it's gripping that pen. But once we set the pen down and energy starts to flow, then the hand, all on its own, starts to do things. Right? I mean, you didn't think probably put my hand in my lap and put it with my other hand, right? It just happened.
Right. Yeah.
So earlier we were talking about how sometimes when we're stuck and we just stop and we step away, and then all of a sudden that thing that was so hard is just effortlessly happening. And we almost don't even know why, right? It's just happening.
Right.
Because the flow of life or that higher power has guided us. We're just now in alignment with where the flow is and allowing that to happen.
Very interesting.
And again, this isn't something to believe. This is something to take for checking, to experience and find out what's true for yourself. One of the most powerful questions lately that I've been asking myself when I get stuck into a feeling, I say, is this helping me get what I want?
Right.
And if the answer is no, I go, okay, all right. Is it bringing me peace or well-being? Well, if the answer is no, I go, no. And then I say, well, is this the totality of who I am? Well, no. But to your point, feelings can feel that way. So that is a very first step to recognize that feelings aren't facts and we can let them go. So once we recognize just that simple, well, no, this is not the totality of my being, right? Then there starts to be some space. And then choice happens. Well, could I set this down? No, not ready to yet. Okay, well, could you hang on for as long as you would like? Okay, and then quickly, like you said, your shoulder gets tired, the hand gets tired, and then we let go, and energy starts to flow, and then the path forward can be revealed from where the flow actually is, not from where we think it should be.
Okay. Beautiful. I'm still hanging on and letting go of the pen. I think I'm still like, what's been happening here?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this again now with a feeling.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. All right.
So the feeling of doubt. Let's take that pen and go ahead and put it in your head, because sometimes the physical act is really helpful, I found. Okay. So if this pen represented self-doubt, let's go ahead and grip it again to the degree that you don't like it, that feeling. Okay. Now, is kind of gripping onto that thought helping you get what you want?
No.
Is it bringing you peace or clarity or well-being?
I feel more peaceful than I did before, but no. I mean,
it's
not bringing me peace. Yeah.
Right. Because something is already released. right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay? I'm not holding the pen near as tight. I'm not angry. I'm not angry anymore.
Yeah. Right. And it does come up. Things come up in layers. Okay. Yeah. So is that feeling of doubt the totality of who and what you are?
No.
Okay. And if it were to be released, would you still exist?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So would you consider would you consider setting down the feeling of doubt?
Of course. Yeah, I'd love to set down the feeling of doubt.
Yeah. And would you if you could?
Yes.
Okay. And when?
Well, now I guess would be the best time, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then let's take your hands like this, like
Mm-hmm.
as if you were holding a ball, and we'll put it right in front of your torso here, like heart, solar plexus area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then just inwardly open and let your hands open like you are opening a door.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So could you welcome what is beyond doubt, even if there isn't a word to answer that question? But could you just welcome the space,
Mm-hmm.
the empty space in and on which doubt appears?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Now, what's your feeling that's here now?
Very peaceful.
Peaceful. Okay. And would you be open to the possibility that peace will show you the answer? The answer will be revealed in the energy of peace.
Yes.
All right. How are you feeling right now?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I want to make sure, because this is really important for everybody to know, that when we release feelings of limitation, it doesn't mean that there still might not be challenges to address in life. But what it does do is that it supports us to address what we need to address more effectively. It creates the space for the answer and the solutions to come, right, from a high vibration, okay, of peace. I like to say, if you wanted to create a blue bird, you need to use blue paint. If you are looking for a solution that's going to bring harmony, that's going to bring peace and well-being, do you think you're more likely to have an effective and meaningful solution that comes through peace, or that comes with the energy of anger and frustration?
Right.
Or fear and worry?
Right. Of course.
Right. It's right. So that's what we're doing. And the beauty about the Sedona method is that there's like 4 different techniques in how to drop something and how to release something. Okay. Right. So there's that. So we use whatever tool works. And then it's also this beautiful bridge to the truth of what we really are beyond the thoughts and feelings. Right. And teachers for centuries, they've been pointing to our true nature. But the Sedona method is a wonderful bridge to pointing to that which is actually doesn't have any words to describe what we truly are. But a good pointer is, if you've held your child and just felt this undescribable feeling and it seems like all separation disappears, or where we see a beautiful sunset and all senses separate. We are just in that moment or in the zone. It doesn't appear like anything is doing anything, but there's just a sense of that, a feeling of the oneness and the unity. Right? That we are on the journey as the human, the body mind, and that on this journey, right, we can use the Sedona method and the tools in the toolkit to help ourselves get out of our own way, literally.
Right.
And while simultaneously recognizing that I'm going to say part of us that is inherently peaceful, that is unlimited, that is ever present, right? And that is the happiness and joy that we've always been seeking, is the peace that we are seeking in everything that we do.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for, I'm kind of at a loss for words, because to your point, we kind of been in a space here where there was not any words. So it's just an interesting, it's very interesting. I'll just put it that way.
I'll tell you, Matt, this work has, it has touched me so deeply, and I've witnessed it touch others so deeply. I have another mentor named David Elzy, and he's developed something called the Awakened Life Approach, in which the Sedona Method is part of. Mm-hmm. And I really am so grateful to him and Hale Dwoskin, who's really caring. It's been my main experience of the Sedona Method. Mm-hmm. And this, one of the things that David has said, and the more I do this work, the more I find this to be true for myself, that silence and space becomes an integral part of the journey. Mm-hmm. There's this. Well, you've probably had this experience, right? Where you're so deeply touched by something and there's no words, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Because that which the heart, I'm going to say the heart, mm-hmm. knows, sometimes there are no words. There are no words for it. And the Sedona Method, this work, in my experience, there's been times where the techniques actually very gently bring the mind to the edge, to the precipice of thought, mm-hmm. right? Because the mind can only go so far. But as Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness it was created. Right. So by taking the mind to this edge and then just inwardly opening to the space, to the silence that is large enough to hold all thoughts, right? Then the way forward that is in harmony, that is, I'm going to say in harmony, can be revealed, right? Mm-hmm. One of my favorite poets is Rumi.
Mm-hmm, of course, right? Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there's one that poem where he says, allow yourself to be quietly drawn by that deeper pull of what you truly love. It will not lead you astray. And the first time I saw that, I was like, wow. I mean, that had to be like 30 some odd years ago. And I didn't really know who Rumi was at the time. I was just drawn to that message, right? And now, with the work I'm doing now, I'm just listening to that deeper pull, supporting other people to follow that deeper pull. And sometimes it can really be a brave path. Mm-hmm. So letting go of the chaos, letting go of the inertia energies, right? And ultimately, it becomes more than letting go. Like that is a first step. When you recognize that feelings aren't facts and you can let them go, that's extraordinarily liberating. Mm-hmm. It opens up a whole new sense of freedom, right? And gives you a technique that you can do. Right? You can do, right? But eventually it's the work comes to the place in recognizing that what you are is the space that allows, right? That holds all the different thoughts and feelings. And when, as the Eastern teacher and sage, Ramana Maharshi said, is to let go of investing in the thoughts. Right? Let go of investing your life force energy in thoughts and feelings. That's when the mind will quiet. And then the way forward is revealed, right? That it's that work, because at least in my experience, things come together and then things fall apart. Things come together and things fall apart. And I recognize, wow, the answer is not in trying to control myself and control the world so I can feel peace.
Right.
Yeah. But it doesn't stop us from trying.
Right.
So and so we learn skills along the way to become a better communicator, to become a better leader, right? We learn these skills and they're all very, very helpful. Right. But at some point, there's an unlearning that needs to happen because the guide of the heart just knows the way. And beautifully it doesn't. And, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Beautifully said.
So I do a support call now once a month.
Okay.
In which I do this work, the Sedona Method. I call it my Wild Heart Brave Path. Free monthly support call. Nice. And in it, we have people from all over the world. On the last call, we had people from Japan and Canada, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, right? And I'm very excited because I feel that when we get together in groups to do this work, the sense of shared humanity just comes shining through. That, or I should say that that underlying sense of what we are shines through in this circle of humanity. And I love it. And what we do is we release limitation. People bring something that they would like to feel lighter and freer about. So as a group, we work together. We release. I lead a group release. And sometimes I work with people one-on-one, and we shed limitation. We welcome that space that's large enough to hold whatever is being experienced with great kindness. And then through that space, there's a listening for that deeper pull of what is truly loved.
Oh, that's awesome. So how do people, let's go there. How do people actually join you in that? What's the best way to kind of connect and find out how they join you in that session?
Yes, they can go to my website, kimmoriyama.com. So that's my whole name, Kim, Kim, Moriyama, MORIYAMA.com. And when they go to services, they can click on that and they'll see a free monthly support call. Okay. And they can sign up for that. And then they'll receive the Zoom link to join. And I really welcome anyone who has a very sincere, earnest desire for inner freedom to come. It was very heartening for me on my journey at one point where I heard that my teacher say, Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was an Eastern teacher, said, all that's required is the earnest heart. So I've really taken to that, and I see it in myself. I see it in other people, that when we are willing to listen, create space for that earnest heart, things shift, energy moves, doors open, synchronicities happen. But most importantly, there's a tender embrace of ourselves with ourselves that opens the door for all things possible.
Very nice. So I highly encourage all of our listeners and viewers to check that out and engage in that. I think I know I've found value today. I'm kind of speechless now after I was supposed to be a podcast host, and I'm like just nodding my head like a little kid going, yes, that actually sounds really good and feels really good. I just want to hang out here in this space.
Yeah. Tell me more. So, say more about what you're experiencing and what shifted for you from when we started to.
I think I just feel very peaceful and relaxed. It's just, I just have this peaceful, relaxed feeling. And then as you're talking, there's a certain amount of joy that just comes up and some awareness that comes into that, listening to what you're saying. And just, yeah, just that it's nice to be in a space of like awe, like when I say like, like that, it's nice to be in that space. It's just like, right. Like literally letting it, like setting the bag down, letting the pen go. It's just like, okay, I'm calm. I'm good now. I'm not stressed. I don't have the little monkey mind going. I don't have the little motor revved up. It's like I've got my foot on the gas and my foot on the brake at the same time. It's like, no, I've actually taken my foot off the gas and taken my foot off the brake. And we're just sitting here. We're just hanging out. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah.
Yes. You're just being.
Yeah. It's a nice space.
Yes. Yeah. See, this, I feel so much joy.
Yeah.
And can you feel the sense that it's not even your peace and happiness? There's just this shared sense. It's in the field, I'm going to quote Rumi again, beyond the field of, beyond the ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. And I'll meet you there. Mm-hmm. And that is what my support call is nourishing, pointing people to. I can just sense that as more and more of us do this kind of work, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's the Sedona Method, the Awakened Life approach, or any of the other wonderful techniques on the planet, and just going towards those teachers that are supporting you, at this time, that there is an awakening. Right? Mm-hmm. There's an awakening to this truth of what we really are. And it doesn't mean that personas fall away, right? I mean, I still get to enjoy my chocolate ice cream and chocolate. Right? All of those things. I love that you set some luggage down. Mm-hmm. We get to travel with this body, mind, personality with less baggage. Mm-hmm.
Which means more energy for joy and fun and happiness, right?
That's been my experience. Now, can you imagine to bring this into everything we do in life?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so I have a vision like for, leaders. Mm-hmm. Leaders across the board, to do the work so that they're leading from this space. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine what would be possible when we lead from a place of feeling that inner peace and harmony, even when there's difficult decisions and even when there's difficult things to do.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's not that life's going to stop bringing challenges or.
Right.
Right. It's not that. It's just how we address those challenges. And I guess how we're being with those challenges is probably more accurate.
Yes, exactly. Right. The being feeds and nourishes the doing.
Right. Yep. That makes sense. Oh. Yeah. Well, beautiful stuff. Well, like I said, I could hang out all day, but we probably should wrap this one up. You got me a little spacey, so I'm not knowing even what time it is. We may be at 2 hours. We may have talked only 10 minutes. I don't really know at this point, but
I think well, we're actually on track.
Are we? Okay, good.
Given the little things, we are on track.
Yeah. Good. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I look forward to engaging with you more. We're getting ready to grow our new community, and we'll have another time to visit where we can visit about that. And if you'd like to be a part of that, we'd love to have those. I'd love to have those calls come into our community more and more that you're already doing, the live calls. I think that's amazing and wonderful. And the world needs more peace and joy and love and happiness. So how do we help facilitate that? Right. And I think, and honestly, learn the tools that help facilitate that. Because at least in my experience, it doesn't just happen. There is still, you have to be active in the tools that help bring peace and joy and love. Right. I mean, it's an active, it's like, I don't take yoga very often, but my wife's a yoga teacher, and what they call an active pose. You can be perfectly still, but it's still an active pose. You're still actively in the pose. You're still actively a part of the experience. It's not a disengaged, like when I'm feeling peace, I don't feel disengaged from the peace. It's not like I'm like wandering around. I'm still very present, but I'm actively in the peace, I guess, if you want to say it that way.
Yes. And that is one way to say it. And what if you actually are the peace?
Well, yes.
And something has just dropped away.
Right.
So that you're self-recognizing what's already here and what's always here.
Now, if I can't find my way home, I've got your cell phone number now because we had some technical difficulty. So you're going to have to, I'll give you my address and you're going to have to GPS and tell me right or left on the way home.
Okay, well, Matt, actually, I do want you to text me because you do have the number because I want, what I found in my own experience is that the thinking mind that just gets stuff done, like knows how to drive the car, knows where to turn, all of that still happens. It's just the extra noise has dropped away.
Right.
Oh. So that's what in the beginning, some people are like, oh, this feels spacey, right? But what if it's just spaciousness? And where so many of us just aren't used to spaciousness.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate for me anyway. Yes.
So let me know. Let me know how it goes.
I will. I'll keep you up to date. And like I said, we'll have to have you back on, and we'll get Richard on here next time because we'll space him out. It's always fun to watch Richard's eyes glaze over and glass up. So we'll get him on the show next time too.
Well, hopefully it's not glazing and glassing, but it's actually more clear.
Yes, I like how you say it. I think with Richard, it'll just be glassy and glazy. We'll see if he gets more clear. We'll see.
Well,
I can give him a hard time because he's not here. So there we go.
We'll see what happens when it happens.
Exactly. Well, we'll put the link to your website in the show notes. And again, thank you so much for coming on today. I was looking so forward to this, and it definitely exceeded my expectations of what was going to happen. I didn't know I was going to get an actual session today. So I thank you for that. It definitely. I will let you know how it goes the rest of the week. And I appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to seeing you again. So thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you so much, Matt. It truly was my pleasure to share this.
All right. You have a good day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of the BriteVibe podcast. For more information, go to britevibe.com. That's BRITE Vibe, VIBE.com. Thank you for listening.